to real history. This is the true story of a man whose final decision was preserved for nearly 2,000 years. Pompeii, the last day. The dawn of August 24th, a D-79, broke calm and golden over the Roman city of Pompeii. The ancient city stirred under a clear blue sky. Markets opened along the plaza, and the warm, salt-scented breeze from the Bay of Naples rustled through stone colonnades. In a modest house near the southern Porta Stabia, a middle-aged man awoke at sunrise. He was a broad-shouldered laborer, seasoned by years of hard work. He tied on his leather sandals and stepped outside into the bright morning air. He paused a moment by the fountain, watching the sun's rays dance on the flickering water. He thought of home, his wife cleaning the hearth and his young daughter playing in the courtyard. Today her hair was braided for a festival, he recalled with a smile. Life in Pompeii could be hard, but it was familiar and warm. He took a deep breath, tasting fresh bread and olives on the air. He greeted familiar faces on the street. Marcella the baker carrying fresh loaves, Silvanus the potter shaping clay vessels, and Marcus the blacksmith hammering hot iron. Conversation buzzed about the harvest and that evening's market. Two boys chased a dog down the cobbled street, ducking beneath the porticos. Carts clattered over the stones and fountains splashed in courtyard niches. In this golden morning, Pompeii felt alive and safe. Then, without warning, the ground shook. A faint tremor rippled through the city, as if the earth itself were sighing. Merchants froze, traders stumbled, a dog yelped and skidded under a table. The baker dropped her basket of bread. The man's knees wobbled for a moment. Neighbors glanced up and eased to a halt. Just another quake, some muttered, a common occurrence in Campania. After all, he reminded himself, Pliny wrote that for days before, such shakes were ordinary and not alarming. He shrugged off the unease. A wise elder voice in the crowd murmured prayers to the gods for safety. Above them, the afternoon sun shone bright. Surely this was nothing unusual. Just after midday, as the sun reached its zenith, the air grew strangely still. The man was in the forum watching a merchant count coins when a deep roar shattered the silence, a sound like a giant stone falling from the sky. He looked up in time to see a towering cloud erupt from the summit of Mount Vesuvius, belching a great black plume of ash and fire into the heavens. The sight was apocalyptic. The smoke column swirled like a massive pine tree upside down, flaring white with firelight inside. The air felt charged, as if lightning could strike. Within the darkness of the column, forks of lightning danced, a hidden fury beyond mortal knowledge. Panic swept the square. A mother stumbled, dropping her ceramic vase, which shattered. Around him, the crowd moved like a frightened herd. Women shrieked and bolted toward their children, and men grabbed at family members in fear. The man's heart thundered. He remembered tales from the taverns. People tied pillows on top of their heads to guard against falling rocks. He had no pillow, but he had the large terracotta mortar from his workshop. With swift force, he yanked it from his belt and pulled it over his head as a helmet. He clutched it tight, pressing his lips together to hold back rising fear. At his side, he found a small oil lamp, which he lit quickly, hoping its tiny flame would guide him through the darkness. All around, ash fell in sheets. The sun vanished and the world was shrouded in gray. He coughed violently as grit filled his throat. Behind him, a child's muffled cry was swallowed by the storm. Roofs groaned and collapsed under the weight, and fires flared where lanterns ignited fumes. Choking on dust, the man ran toward Porta Stabia, the city's southern gate. Salvation lay at the harbor beyond. Around him, Pompeii's citizens panicked. A gaunt man murmured a prayer to Jupiter, and a widow clutched her small sack of savings. He coughed, spit out a mouthful of ash, and pressed on. He ran past them in the gathering dark, steeling his resolve. The earth beneath him rumbled as if drums of doom were beating. Ahead through the gloom, he saw the arch of Porta Stabia rising black and broad. At the gate, torches blazed as men scrambled to launch boats on the bay. The sea beyond was a dark scarlet in the ash-lit sky. This must be my last hope, he thought desperately, and plunged into the crowd swarming onto the docks. Night fell while ash still sifted down. Time lost meaning in this darkness. It could have been hours already. The air was a choking gray, and even the stars were gone. He glanced up. The sky was a swirling soup of smoke, pierced only by the dull glow of torches below. In the plaza outside Porta Stabia, people stumbled and wept. An old man knelt in the dust, head bowed. A child lay tremoring. The man pushed forward through the crowd, coughing and stumbling. "Get to the boats," he told himself. He handed his cracked clay bowl to a frightened child. She tucked it under her arm without a word. He had nothing left to give but his hope. He patted the pouch at his waist. Thankfully, the coins were still inside. Along the docks, a few small boats were being hastily launched. Sailors yelled for all to hurry aboard, but waves of pumice already lapped at the quays. The man edged forward toward a small wooden skiff, the boatmen urging last passengers to step in. This is it, he told himself, his final chance. Then came a deafening rumble from Vesuvius again. He looked back at the volcano. At its crown, a cloud of fiery ash poured down the slope, like an angry gray flood. The sky turned a hellish orange as the pyroclastic surge advanced. He threw up his arms to flee, but the searing blast hit him. He dropped to his knees on the keystones and lifted his bowl above his head. The air was a furnace. Ash whipped at him like knives. He smelled sulfur and burning flesh. His skin felt like it was burning. He began to blister. Scientists would later measure that surge at roughly 300 degrees Celsius. He whispered a prayer to the gods and let visions of his wife and children flood his mind as the terror engulfed him. When the brightness and roar passed, an eerie silence settled. Vesuvius fell silent, leaving behind a monochromatic desert of gray ash and stone. Pompeii, Herculaneum, and Stabii were gone, buried under 20 meters of volcanic debris. Centuries later, archaeologists would uncover his final resting place near Porta Stabia. His skeleton was found curled in a fetal position. Remarkably, the cracked clay bowl was still on his head, and the small oil lamp remained near his hand. 10 bronze coins had spilled from the pouch he had carried in his desperate attempt to escape. In the end, he had held on to the 3 things he believed might save him: shelter, light, and money. His struggle became one of the most haunting stories preserved beneath the ashes of Vesuvius. Pompeii itself disappeared beneath several meters of volcanic deposits. Yet not everyone perished. Modern archaeological and demographic studies suggest that of the city's population of approximately 15,000 to 20,000 inhabitants, many thousands managed to flee during the long hours between the first eruption and the final pyroclastic surges. To date, the remains of around 1,500 to 2,000 victims have been discovered in Pompeii and its immediate surroundings, though the exact number of fatalities will never be known. The buried city remained largely forgotten for more than 16 centuries. Systematic archaeological excavations began in AD 1748 during the reign of Charles VII of Naples. What archaeologists uncovered astonished the world. Streets, houses, temples, workshops, graffiti, food, furniture, and even the final moments of entire families had been preserved beneath the volcanic ash. Through the famous plaster casts developed in the 19th century, the victims of Pompeii were revealed not as legends, but as human beings caught in a single catastrophic moment of history. Parents embracing children, friends fleeing together, and solitary figures like the man with the clay bowl still trying to survive until the very last breath. Nearly 2,000 years after the eruption of Vesuvius, Pompeii remains one of the most extraordinary archaeological sites ever discovered, a city where an ordinary day in the Roman world was suddenly frozen forever. If you enjoyed today's journey back to ancient times, I'd be truly grateful for your like. It's the best way to let me know that these stories are worth making. I'm already preparing another exciting story for you, so if you don't want to miss it, consider subscribing. I'll see you next week.